An inmate at the Salinas Valley State Prison, Solvat, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, Aaron. I'm okay. How are you?
Not bad. Can't complain. I'm not in prison.
Yeah, that's a bright way to look at it. Well, good to hear your voice. I just wanted to proceed with some of the things we've been talking about and go on to some of the next things I had on my list here. Is Rudy there too?
Yep, go right ahead.
You caught me in the truck. I'm driving down the road, Free, but we are both here, and I mailed you a bunch of articles on Ronald Wyatt's. It went out in the Ronald Watts. It went out in the mail today, and I hope you get your color photos soon.
Okay, today is our last receipt of mailing day for the week, so it might come today, which is going to be about 3 or 4 hours from now when we get our mail. And if not, we'll hope for Monday or Tuesday. If not then we'll probably chalk it up as a loss maybe, but we'll see. We still give it a few more days. I wanted to ask you guys, a lot of times when I call, I guess you hear the whole little about 3 or 4 second spiel that I say besides my name. I usually give the time of the day, the date, and I do that just to orient people when I call, but it occurred to me that maybe all the cell phones or smartphones out there, they tell you when a call comes in. Is that true or not?
I think it's a really good idea that you do that.
Oh, good. Okay, so I was going to stop doing it if your phones always tell you anyway, in case you're not there and it's just important to know when I try to call. But based on what you just said, I'll continue to do that.
Yep.
So I wanted to bring your attention to a paper that is a screenshot that Don Cena sent me like 2 years ago when we were working on this fundraising thing. There's a guy named Barrett Brown. I'm looking at it right now. It's got a big picture of it, big color picture. It says Barrett Brown Legal Defense Fund, and it's Free Barrett Brown Limited, not-for-profit corporation. I don't want to go that far, I don't think. Help raise funds for legal defense of Barrett Brown, American activist, author, freelance journal, founder of distributed think tank project BEF, whatever that is. Each dollar raised is your vote in this important campaign for free speech and transparency on the internet and around the world. So I forgot, I know I've read this whole thing before, but it's been about 1.5 years or 2. And so apparently he was some kind of activist that probably got framed and set up for false imprisonment as well. But my point being is that this is a really good looking, concise piece that somebody did that knew what they were doing, or at least it appears they knew what they were doing. I always need more objectivity. I'm always too long-winded with my details and things for something like this. I mean, I'm really good for something like a trial or somebody to know all the details of what happened in a legal matter, in a legal case. But for something like this, we need conciseness, and that's my downfall point. So I just thought I'd bring it to your attention and maybe look it up and use it as a sample or example of what we could kind of pattern ours after. I know what I got back to me in the mail that I couldn't remember yesterday when I called was I got from you also a copy of the $1 donation thing that I sent you, and asked you to send me a copy back. So I got that. Thank you for that. I also had gotten in the past few days another copy or two from Don, I think from Don Cena. So I have a few copies of that. I want to. Do you know if Ken Bassat was ever sent a copy of that from you?
I don't recall. I send so much stuff out, Free, it's hard for me to recall. You want me, but I can certainly forward it to him tonight.
Well, I can do it at this point since I have more than one copy. I can just take one of the ones I have now and send it to him. I know I've talked to him about it in the last week or two, and I told him that I thought that you were probably going to send him a copy, but I'll just send it if he hasn't gotten one. And, I guess he's kind of the point man on this particular project. I've got so many projects or potential projects going on out there that it's good to have, it's good to have certain people doing certain functions as the main person. So Ken is sort of the main person on that. You are sort of the secondary people just because I sent you that $1 donation idea and relating this to you about the Barrett Brown Legal Defense Fund. But,
let me just say let me just say I do remember Barrett Brown, and I remember that he was unjustly incarcerated, and he was something like an
This
activist.
call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
But if you mail us anything on him, I'll certainly read it. But I do recall his case, and it reminds me of a guy by the name of Jeff Barron, who had $1 billion business, and the judges and the lawyers took everything away and made him a legal slave. They put him in human receivership, which is the first time since like the 1800s that's been done. But anyway,
What?
yeah, if you look, they put him in human receivership. Yeah, he couldn't hire a lawyer. He couldn't get a job. He couldn't leave town. I mean, they put him in human receivership. I'll print you an article about him. His name is Jeff Barron. Had $1 billion business. $1 billion business. I've met the man, and it's absolutely terrible how they destroyed his life. And you know, he doesn't have a. He's just very struggling even now today, and he's fighting all the lawyers that took all of his money.
That's incredible. That's amazing. That's so outrageous. That reminds me, and I meant to put this in my notes for you and keep forgetting. For months I meant to tell you, since we've been in touch, about a guy, let me think of his name. I was in close touch with him, correspondence for years, but I haven't been now for 6 or 8 years. He was the federal inspector of some sort working for the federal government, and they put him in an employment position to straighten out some of the airlines. I think Delta was the main one. And he would play the game of shoving under the rug all the fraud that was going on that was causing airplanes to crash. Delta and pretty much all the other major airlines were allowing their planes to crash by not doing the maintenance. They knew that a certain amount of planes would crash with passengers in them over periods of time. But after they calculated, okay, we pay out so much money from the deaths, and we still come ahead by, X amount of millions or tens of millions of dollars to not do the maintenance, knowing that they're going to crash and we're going to pay out, but it's a money win for us. So they were doing that for decades. And this guy, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name. I know the name so well. He refused to do that, so they set him up with some kind of, I think it was originally IRS stuff, and then they got to his ex-wife, who was in a big hate relationship with him at that point. They got her to testify falsely against him, railroaded him into federal prison for a few years. His first book was called Defrauding America. Oh, Rodney Stitch. Are you familiar with him, Rodney Stitch?
Yes, he wrote a book about Richard Taus, which is another political prisoner that we advocate for. He's been in prison over 30 years. He worked. Rodney Stitch. He's dead. He's dead now, I believe. I believe he passed away.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that I didn't know if he was still alive, because the last time I was in touch with him was probably 6 or 7 years ago. But he had written Defrauding America, and then after that he wrote several other books about the airlines, and then he wrote a book about exposing. He met some CIA guys in prison that were framed and railroaded, and what do they call it? Were they disavowed?
Yeah, whistleblowers. If he's the same guy that I'm thinking of, he wrote a book called FBI, CIA, The Mob and Treachery. And it was the story about Richard Taus, who spent 11 years in the FBI, and he had 2 tours of duty in Vietnam.
And God, how many years?
I know about
life.
Huh?
Richard Taus. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know about Toss, I think, from Jack McGlam. I think Jack might have even profiled Toss in the same news newsletter that he profiled me, and that you had dug up a copy of.
That's right.
So, but if not, it was still from Jack, I think. But I didn't know that Stitch was involved with that, and I never heard of Stitch doing the books you just mentioned. All of that's that's very possible that he did, because like I said, I've been out of touch with Stitch and what he's been doing. I'm really sorry to hear that he died, or probably died. He was such a warrior and a bulwark against government corruption, and such an honorable man to do the things he did and pay the price he paid. But I've been meaning to tell you since we first were in touch about him, because his name's never popped up, and I was wondering, had you ever heard of him? We were in touch for at least several years. He sent me a number of his books, like I think all 3 of those books I mentioned. I can't remember the name of the one, the airline one, but all of it started with his work for the federal government, for the airlines, and he wouldn't play the game of letting the airlines get away with causing so many more deaths of airplane crashes. just because they were able to make more money that way. Isn't that shocking? Just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really terrible.
Yeah, for that almighty extra millions of dollars to knowingly let your airplanes crash, killing, what, 250 people on the average each crash? That's just crazy. So anyway, Stitch was a great guy. It was great to correspond with him for several years, and I'm sorry that he was out of touch so long, and sorry that he sounds like he's deceased now. Anyway, back to Barrett Brown. I only have this one copy of this. I could send it to you.
No, that's okay. Don't worry about that. Give me the title. Just tell me the title. I can probably find it on the internet.
Okay, there's a little tiny headnote at the top, and then it says the main heading on the top above his picture says in big letters says Barrett Brown Legal Defense Fund, and it's spelled B-A-R-R-E-T-T. And actually, you know what? Wait a minute. It says Bitcoin is also accepted. Okay, here it is. Donate at freebarrettbrown.org.
You know, I believe he's out now. Is this possibly a very old article? Because if I'm not mistaken, he did get out. I've seen him do interviews outside of prison. So this might be an older...
Okay, Don Cena sent this to me about 2 years ago.
Yeah, I believe Barrett Brown's... I'll double check.
I don't know if this was...
I'll double check, but I believe Barrett Brown's got out of prison, and I saw him doing interviews. And I think,
okay.
You know, so I'll double check on that and send you whatever I can find.
Okay, that well could be. That well could be, because even when Don sent me this, he could have even been out or getting close to getting out. So all I know is Don sent me this as a sample of what I was wanting to achieve with, fundraising for my own case. So the last date I see of anything on here is 2012, but that's all when he was railroaded and sent to prison, or even before his, that's when he was arrested or charged in 2012, I guess. So I'm just glancing through this. It's just a two-sided sheet with a lot of color on it, so it's attractive, it's attention-getting, and that's not the kind of thing we want to do for mine. And I certainly am not limited to the $1 idea that I had, and maybe that's not even a viable option. Maybe people have tried that before and it doesn't work. I don't know. You guys are out there, so I'm trying to rely on somebody out there to be able to double check and see what has worked for people, see what's worked best, because I hear all the time.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
You know, this person in 1 day raised $35,000 for this cause, and this person in 3 weeks raised $250,000, and this person raised over $1 million in several months for this. And some of that is legal defense and some of it's other things. But, you know, my case is so astounding, 36 years is so shocking to most people that we should be able to catch somebody's attention if we present it right, and that's what I need, is somebody that knows how, or is able to at least observe a bunch of other ones that have been successful and ones that have been unsuccessful, so they know what to do and what not to do, and then go ahead and put this together. The only thing I need to do is, before it's put out there online, is to verify all the facts, because usually somebody will get something just a hair wrong, and I don't want anything even one little iota wrong. I want it all perfectly accurate information. So that's all I need to do in this. I need to stay, since I'm subjective, I need to kind of stay out of the picture until it gets to the point where somebody's put it together and I can confirm whether or not, you know, if the facts are proper, or do a little editing if necessary.
Okay.
That makes sense. Let me quickly say, let me quickly say, Free, I think the idea about legal fundraising is great. I think it's something that would be wonderful in your case.
60 seconds remaining.
The thing is, I have seen also where political prisoners do really good at that, and as they're doing good, the Fed sends in infiltrators to derail it. Now, I don't know if that will happen with you, but I have seen that with other political prisoners.
Okay. Yeah, and that may happen, and I don't think we'll be, knowing ahead of time that these things happen and that they may do things like that, I don't think we go any further behind by at least trying it.
Yeah, right. We should still try. Still try, yes.
30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, as long as we remain aware of that, and I am aware of those type of things, so thanks for putting it in front of front of my, right in my, right in my front view windshield again. Yeah. Okay. So this is going to cut us off any second. So I'll be in touch again in the near future. Appreciate everything you do, and my prayers are with you, and thanks for yours.
Our prayers are for you too, Free. You take care. Have a good weekend.
Okay, we love you, Free.
Thanks so much.
Bye.